Hi, it's Jess here from Nigezza.co.uk, and I'm here today with another junk journal tutorial. So thank you so much for joining me. And what I'm going to show you today is how I made all these. So last time I made pockets in the journal, and I said I need to make tags. And this is what I'm making. So I've got two quite nice sized sort of journaling cards here, and then I've got, what have I got, 2, 4, 6 tags, and they all use elements from the kit, the Vintage Day kit, and then other little arty maze embellishments as well, and some music paper I've put on there. And the background, this is a paper napkin. Possibly used this before in a video, but I quite liked the colour, and I thought the pinks went with some of the colours in the kit, and also I had some of these nice pink tickets and things, so felt that went quite well. And depending on how you cut it, like that one shows more greens, so as does that one. So liked it. So I'm going to show you how I did this, and I've got to give a shout out to Purple Poppy, who I've discovered recently, and then thousands of people have discovered her. And yeah, so this was an idea I've got from her, and I really liked it, and it was using up book pages, because I've got a gazillion book pages because I've made my first altered book. Yeah, this is going to be a tutorial later. So like, I tore all these out of this book. It's not vintage. I think it was published in about 2000. So not vintage at all, but it was a cheap book, and good to practice doing an altered book on. So I've got all of these, and because they're not vintage, I don't particularly want to use them in a journal, but it's like, well, other than using them to like as scrap paper for sort of gluing on and blending on, I thought, oh, how else could I use them? And I saw this video which was just brilliant. So what we do is we use this for the basis of the tag. So gonna do 3 this way. I'm just gonna get a glue stick to stick them all together. So I'm just gonna go down here and just overlap a bit there, just stick it down. Same here, and you do end up with 2 layers, which is quite good. That's not necessarily that straight there. Might try and make that a bit straighter. Not that it really matters, but I see why that's happened. It's because it's not torn straight. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is stick along the bottom here. You could do as many sheets as you actually wanted to do. So stick that, oh no, I don't stick it that way, stick it that way. There we go. And that way. And then I'm going to go glue up again here and stick this last sheet that way. So this kind of makes a nice sort of rectangle along there, and then I'm going to keep it so the glue is that way. We're going to do it again, but we'll turn it over so that we're sticking the 3 that way over here. So that's how you sort of build up your double layer. I think Claire, I'm sure her name's Claire, she called it cross hatching. So that up there, and then glue this on top. And so you get, because this isn't terribly old paper, lots of vintage paper is really quite sort of thin and delicate. Well, this isn't, well, it's still fairly thin. It's not really that delicate. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is go along there for the bottom to be stuck down. And then again, we're going to stick these around the edge. Yeah, could add more glue. I think actually I did when I adhered them together. I put glue all over, but hey ho, I forgot. There we go. So yeah, I'm going to put glue all over because actually those centre bits are not actually stuck down. There we go. I might, so you can see where it's wrinkled up, I might try and peel this back a bit actually before it's completely stuck down. And do some more glue in. So there we go. First mistake of the day, but it's no major because it's glue stick. It doesn't stick fast straight away. There we go. So I've got time to run my glue stick. And I can't remember if last time I put some collal glue down as well. I might have done. So this is what happens when you make something and then you leave it weeks before you do something, and I have been unwell. So that is my excuse, and I'm going to stick to it. But I'm sure I'm not alone. I'm forgetting to do this. And what I might do is I might get my collal and just do some extra glue in. I won't bother with the other side. Do some extra glue in on this. And then that's where my big bone folder comes in to give it a good press down, good burnish, get that glue spread in. So we've got some really good adhesion there. I'm still not 100% sure about glue stick on its own, but I did sew them, so I wasn't really that bothered if they didn't stick that well around the edges, because I was sewing them. You don't have to sew. I know lots of people don't have a sewing machine, and I've seen in groups. I've been joining so many junk journal Facebook groups, picking up tips from all different ones, and I know some people sort of saying, oh, what's the rules for this and what's the rules for that, and do I need to sew, do I have to sew? And the one thing I like about junk journaling is no rules. It's do what you want. Do what you want. So There we go. Stick that down. So that is the basis of it. I don't need my book pages anymore. And you'll notice, if you see the tags that I made, that I do back them onto coffee dyed paper. Well, it's probably tea dyed paper actually, to be fair. So they don't have the book page on the back. So you've got this 2 layers here. You're going to have coffee paper on the back, and then I am decoupaging a paper doily, paper napkin, don't know why I always say doily, over the top. So they're actually quite stiff. And then you've got the layers of cardstock, the embellishments on the top. You can hear the sound. So it does come out quite card-like. So yeah, and this would just have ended up in the bin. So it's nice to reuse things. So that is that. So now what we've got to do is do our decoupaging of our napkin. I'm just checking I've got a little bit of washi there, and I have moved it, so I'm going to move it back up there a bit. So yeah, so now I'm back cooking on gas. So paper napkin. So for this one, I used this paper napkin, and so I'm going to use a different one for this one. I'm going to use this one, and if you watched my video on my altered envelope, I used this in that one. Now, when I watched Claire's video, she didn't recommend using this style because she was saying that you need to do one that's all in the same direction, but I cut it in half anyway, so it didn't really matter. So I'm gonna leave it as this. So we just need to pull our layers apart. So I'm going to get some sellotape to pull my layers apart. If I can find the end, you know, I can never find the end. There it is. I stuck it over the side so I could get it. And that's me bit that I always stick back on to make finding the end easier. Take a bit, stick that back on. There we go. And then I take my bit of sellotape and usually put it sort of round a corner bit so it then will peel off. I reuse these. So I do use these for other things. So don't chuck these out. I've got a whole pile of layers. Now I can't remember this is 2 pile or 3 pile. So we shall see. Yeah, it is 3 ply. There we go. So it's quite bright, this one, and I know when I used it last time I felt it was quite bright. So I am gonna get my PVA glue, which is here ready made up. So this is just white PVA with a bit of water, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some Vintage Photo re-inker to it. This is something that Claire does. I'm just going to put a couple of drops in there, so that means that my glue will get coloured, and it will she uses clear PVA, and we get it in the works over here. But I'm not going shopping. I'm going to add a bit more to that because I think I might need it. So lots and lots of Vintage Photo PVA watered down. And that's there. So the colour's gone down a bit there. that is what I wanted to do. So, oh, it looks a little bit like caramel now, doesn't it? Oh, don't eat it. Right, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to paint this over, and you can see that you do get a bit of colour with it. You can see that some of that re-ink colour is transferring, so that looks a little bit more vintage than that one. Bring in my napkin and lay it down. Now I have got a little bit of crease there, I'm not bothered. So using my nice big bone folder, so you can see that it's overlapped the bottom there, but that's okay. I'll cut that out afterwards. And it has not quite reached these sides, but that's okay. I will trim it down after. So now I'm going to go over the top with this, and this should knock back some of that colour. And we're seeing some of the writing from the pages below still. So that's that. You can see I quite like that you can see the difference in the colour here to the colour here. So you can see that actually adding that little bit of re-inker to it has had an effect on it. So now what you do is you'd wait for that to dry before you did the next bit. But I don't want to do that. So I have, like Blue Peter, got one I prepared earlier. Just going to put my paintbrush over there so it doesn't cause any damage, and I'm going to put the lid on this. So that will go and dry naturally in the heat. And here's one I prepared earlier. Just going to mop up that glue. So I've used a different doily for this one. Doily. Keep saying it, paper napkin. And I think the reason why I keep saying doily is because I call these serviettes, and but when you search for projects using these things, the projects are called paper napkin projects because they're called paper napkins in other parts of the world. So so in my head I want to say serviette. I know I can't say serviette, I say something else. And so doily comes out instead. So there we go, just the way my brain works. So this is the one I've used. So what I'm going to do is just trim down those edges. That's my dressmaking scissors, don't really want to use those. So I'm just going to, trim off a bit, the bit that's overhanging. Other bits will get trimmed off as they go. So there we go. That'll do for now. So then I just sort of sliced it up to make my tags, and because it's not a continuous pattern, I'm going to cut it completely in half down here. Might just get in my trimmer. So that's a scorer. So there we go. Just slice that like so. There we go. So that's that sort of cut. So this has now made this about 5 inches. I'm going to cut that little bit off the edge there where it's got no doily. Put napkin, serviette, whatever. You know what I mean. I'm going to cut that edge off as well so it's a little bit neater. And I'm going to do the same with this. I'm going to cut that. I'm going to cut the bottom as well. And then you've just got the basis for making some nice tags. So this side is just over 6 inches. I kind of think I did the last ones. They were roughly 6 inches each side. So there we are. And then I go cut them down. So I kind of went, I think I went for 3. They're sort of 3 by 6. These. Yeah, that 3. Just under 6. So I'm going to go along here at 3 inches because that makes a nice size tag. Oh, I do want 3 that are 2 inches actually. Quite like that colour for what I've got in mind is my 3 little pockets that come down. So do 3 2 inches for those pockets, and I do want to check the pocket I did for the kit. So those will go in those side pockets nicely. So yes, those 3 in a row. So they might be a little bit too long. So they'll go in there. They need just trimming down a bit. And I cut these at 2 inches, although as you can see they could have been wider. I cut them at 2 inches because of a tag topper punch that I've got. So they'll go in there nicely. So I need to trim off about 1/2 inch for them to fit in. So I'm going to do that now. And then what I'm going to use is this punch here. And that just gives it a really nice top to it. I'm not going to do it anymore because I need to put the backing sheet on and then cut it, to be fair. So won't do any more of them, but I will just trim them down. So they're ready. And the other thing I wanted to look at is there. So it was how wide is that? Well, a 3 inch. Oh yeah, 3 inch tag will actually fit in there fine. So we're all right. We'll carry on. So this one, I think rather than cut that down to 3 inches, I'll have that as it is as a journaling card. Quite like that. So we've got 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 cards and some journaling cards. So now we need to stick them on to coffee dye paper. That's that. So that's mucky. I've got this special grid that I do and I don't like it. That just caught some of the tea leaves. I don't like it. So I'm going to cover that side up. So I can do these. So there, I'll stick on one, and then I'll get all these. Will they all go on another? Might be do it that way. Yes, just a matter of playing Tetris, isn't it? So I'm going to stick them down. So I'm just going to, do a combination of glue stick and colour glue. So I like to do the glue stick so that it's got glue all over, and then come in with the colour because I don't trust it 100%. And particularly if you're not going to sew, you absolutely want to make sure it's glued down. Now you could stick coffee dyed paper onto the back of your book sheets before you cut them up. Could do that. I didn't, because sometimes I've got scraps that I want to use up. And well, I don't know why I didn't. I just didn't think about it until this moment, to be honest. I think it's just down to preference, what you want to do. So then I just put my glue all the way around. And I do find that colour glue adds an extra bit of stiffness to it. So you've got 2 layers of paper and a layer of paper napkin, and then with the glue you are creating, as I say, another layer of firmness to your tag. So I don't like flimsy tags, so I like to push that out so that the glue's all the way to the edge. And the thing about colour glue is it's not an instant grab. It's not like, so I like Tombow, the green and white glue. I like that. Almost instant grab, that. Hardly any drying time. But colour does have a little bit of drying time. And if anything's lifting up like there, then I've got colour in a little small one, and I just stick my little needle end in there to glue that down. Use my bone folder to squeeze the glue out, and that'll stick it down. So that's what I do. So I'm going to carry on and do that. I don't want to bore you with watching me glue all them down. So I've stuck all these down, and spookily I'd mentioned Purple Poppy, and so whilst I was doing it I just put YouTube on, and there she was, she popped up. So yeah, I discovered her a few weeks ago, maybe a month ago, and it seems like thousands of people have as well. And she talked about, actually, in this video I just watched, the video that she did on this, and yeah, I mean, I actually made it with her while she was doing it. I made it at the same time, and I just think it's really cool. So that is them all stuck down. So I'm just going to cut one out to show you, and then I'll cut all the others out, and then we can do some decorating. So you could use scissors. I like to use my trimmer. I like a little bit more preciseness. When you get down to this sort of size, I then swap over to a guillotine, because that just makes it a little bit easier to getting because they've they've been stuck willy-nilly on there. So but my little guillotine is only 6 inches long, 4 inches wide, so there's a limit to it. And then what I do is I've got a little credit card here. I've cut it in slants, but I put an arrow there. This is my favourite one, so that is what I'm going to use. And then I just take a pair of scissors and use that like so, and then I flip it and I've drawn an arrow on the other side, so it's kind of rain fog proof. And that's the sort of top of my tag done. And what I'll do is I will be sewing round these edges, so if there is any bit of this that hasn't quite stuck, then it won't matter. And you can see that it's now like a piece of cardstock. And I'll show you actually the one of these, so I will just cut it out, probably just to see as I'm using my guillotine. Now obviously that is the direction of this tag, not that you might not see much of this. And then I'm gonna push it down here and have it like that. And I am actually going to round the corners on this. Don't round the corners on all my tags, but because that's got this, oh, I used a different top. I've got two of these and I meant to use the other one. I meant to use that shape. Oh well, it's done now, isn't it? So that's what I'll do with that, and I will sew round this as well. So I'll get on and finish all the others, and then we'll do the decoration. There we are. So I've gone around and so I rounded all the corners. I was going to do that anyway on these sort of journaling cards, and I like to do it